in school history. 3, number of conference and district championships over the last 4 years. 2, state Final Four appearances over the last 4 years. 82 number of wins over the last 4 years, which is the 20.5 average. You have to notice coach is very much a member of the guy. 110 number of days since first day of practice, these girls are committed to this program with their absolute all. 356 number of hours that we have spent together this season, not including this. 3.87. These 19 girls' GPAs for third quarter, all while spending 356 hours of practice, games, and team events. Team, the number of these girls with a 3.9 or higher GPA. 7, the number of these young girls with a 4.0 or higher GPA. If you are surprised by any of these numbers, it's because we have the most humble, high-character student athletes that any coach could ask for. They don't do all of this for recognition, but they do it for each other. I'm so thankful that you have invited us all here to be recognized for their accomplishments. I get to be more proud of these amazing young ladies and how they represent the school district and our program. Then we have all the players, managers, and coaches listed. Drew Newhart and Chris Wilford are unable to make it tonight. Players, Anna Redline, Caitlin Milford, Riley Thompson, Sylvia Fisher, Emily Delich, Belle Moreno, Molly Sanders, Peyton Walker, Juliana Walker, Kylie Bullinger, Johanna Bruce, Reese Foster, Riley Miller, Kate Krim, and Faith Peters. Our managers were Amanda Conrad, Ava Lavasser, Hannah Rudd. That is our.
Players. Just turn it off. Just turn it off. Too. Would you guys please stand up, introduce yourselves? I know Coach S did, but that way we would be able to put a name with a face, and then anyone else that joined you this evening. So think about parents, brothers, sisters, grandma, grandpa. Yes, that'd be great.
I'm Juliana Walker.
I'm Riley Thompson.
Who came with you?
Did anyone come
Who
with
didn't
you?
come with you?
No. Came solo.
I'm Emily Delich. My dad came with I'm Isabel Moreno, and my mom, dad, little brother, and sister came with me. I'm Johanna Bruce.
Riley Miller and
I'm Kylie Bollinger, and my mom and my dad came with me.
I'm Reese Foster and my mom came with me.
Ava Lavasser and it's with me.
I'm Hannah Rudd and no one is here with me.
I'm Faith Peters, and my mom is here with me.
I'm Kate Krim and I'm here with Faith.
Okay.
As the next step, if you guys would all come up and start with the board table, file around, and then we're going to take a picture afterwards right here in the middle.
Screen.
Yes.
Oh,
I
Mr.
don't-
Moore was on the screen.
I don't know if they saw Mr.
Proud of you guys.
Yeah.
Fun to watch. There he is. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Great job.
Nice job.
Good job. Great job.
Congratulations. Give him a name. Good job.
Great job.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Good job.
Congratulations.
Been watching you ladies this year. Good job. Great job.
Oh, good job. Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Good job.
Mr. Moore's up there clapping.
All job. Very proud of
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go up there, get ready
Great
to go.
job. I'm 6. I don't want
Congratulations. You drink it a little harder, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He comes back on and off.
Thanks. I think this is all right. I don't get it.
Squeeze in and we go. Oh, thank you very much.
We're staying up here.
See more pictures? Oh,
Any parents?
Even any more pictures?
did you everyone get it, parents? Okay.
There's Mr. Morgan.
Good job, Larry.
If you guys want to stay up there, you can. I'll actually grab the microphone. They're gonna go.
Thanks for being here.
Hi, girls.
Our next group that we're going to recognize is our girls and boys state wrestling placers. They went and had a successful season this year, culminating on February 22nd and 24th in Columbia, Missouri. We are excited to share we had several athletes earn all-state recognition on the Lady Warrior side. Ellie Pickett and Noelle Parrott each earned second place. And on the boys side, Brennan Green finished fifth. And we are excited to share that Alex Hutchcraft is a state champion for Smithville this year. All able to make it. Obviously, Coach Middleton was not, but Alex, we'll give you a second. Did you just please introduce yourself? Anything you want to share about these?
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations.
This one, I'll take your
All right, our next group, we're going to recognize our students that'll be participating in Missouri Fine Arts Academy. This summer, it is a 2-week residential program for highly motivated sophomore, junior, and senior students. They are artists in the disciplines of visual and mixed media, theater, dance, creative writing, and instrumental and vocal musics. Students must apply to be considered for entrance to the program, and this year we are excited to share that there are 3 students who will be participating. We have Izzy Sapp, Bailey Freeman, and Kylie Stewart. If you guys can if you guys would please introduce yourself, anyone that helps support you through this. I know that the application process is fairly grueling. It is not like filling out a job. It is a fairly intensive process. So please introduce yourselves, anyone that came with you and helped you through this process.
So my name is Isabel Sapp. I go by Izzy. I did a lot of the application process actually on my own because I applied to creative writing. So it was a lot of stuff that I already had prepped and ready. My mom came with me. She's right over there. And so that's about it. Yeah.
My name is Kylie Stewart. My aunt and uncle are here with me along with my cousin.
My name's Bailey Freeman, and my mom's here with me. And Miss Torrance is here too, and she helped me apply.
Congrats, Izzy. Congratulations. How fun.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations.
And parents, we want you to so you guys All right, we have one other group to recognize, and that is our students that participated in the DECA state competition and placed down there in the top 10. We had several students participate with 3 students earning all-state recognition. DECA has impacted the lives of more than 10 million students, educators, school administrators, and business professionals since it was started. DECA's programs and activities have constantly evolved using the latest technology and applying cutting-edge educational research. DECA's comprehensive learning program integrates into the classroom instruction, applies learning, and connects to business and promotes competition. Working with the members of DECA provides evidence that teaching in the classroom alone can't provide based on their real world experience. While collaborating with DECA members on co-curricular projects and activities, advisors, here served by Dr. Simon, serve as mentors and coaches. We would like to introduce our students that all earned All-State. We have Lily Burns, Destiny Salazar, and Will Sapp, who all finished in the top 10. Would you guys please stand? I think we missed one as well. I apologize. Riker, congratulations. How'd baseball end up? I am impressed you were able to throw on the jackets. Very good. If you guys wouldn't mind introducing yourselves, anyone that came here to support you, and then Dr. Simon, if there's anything you'd like to share as well, and we'll have you come up and shake hands as well.
Hi, I'm Destiny Salazar, and I finished in the top 10 at DECA State, and I placed 3rd at DECA Districts. Overall, DECA is a great experience and has taught me a lot of real world learning opportunities, and it's also made me prepared, like public speaking like I am right now. Also, we use the grind to help fund for DECA, which is an awesome experience as I'm doing that class to help fund for the grind.
Hi, I'm Autumn Blankenship. I'm your VP of Hospitality. So this is my partner, obviously Riker. We do team sports decision making. It's like sports and entertainment marketing. We finished 1st for in districts for that, and then I also do retail merchandising. So I placed 4th for that. We didn't make it as far, but we'll be back next year. So yeah.
I'm Riker House. Nothing too special about me. Just want to make small yeah. I'm the cheesecake guy. Like she said, we got 1st at districts and then didn't place at state, but we're gonna come back next year.
These kids are being modest. They did a really great job, and just want to highlight that this is the first DECA team that Smithville has fielded in over 6 years. So these kids, 10 of them went to districts, 7 of them went to state. So the folks that aren't here tonight, Will Sapp, he couldn't be with us tonight. He's not feeling very well. Ellie Herner, Lily Burns, and other folks that are part of our team. Dominic Santulli, thank you. They did a really great job, and they went up against some schools, some really big teams that have had DECA groups in place for many, many years, and they didn't shy away from the competition. I thought they did really well. And in addition to the competition, the team also, as Destiny said, they take care of the grind for us. So you'll probably come by and see Destiny working there. Also, Ellie Herner, who's one of our team members. And also they adopted a street. So if you leave here tonight and go down Commercial and that little roundabout there at 92, just south of that, you'll see our DECA Adopt a Street sign. And it goes all the way around to almost to the McDonald's over there. That's our street. So it's not only just competition, it's academics, it's grind, it's community outreach. And so we learned a lot this term because this is my first year being part of DECA. And so I think we have a really good foundation to take the glass, as they say, in DECA when it comes to awards next year.
Congratulations. Another honor for you. Good to see you again. Nice to meet you. Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Yes, Dr. Simon.
Very specifically.
I will let him.
There's a lot. A lot. Oh. Thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Great
Yes,
afternoon.
thank you.
Evening. And thank you to the others that decided to stick around. Now, a couple other just updates. It is Board Appreciation Week. Would like to thank, yes. Thank you, Christy. Thank you for all of you, everything that you guys do. You guys see our buildings do a tremendous job of taking care of you. We even had a teacher with her class make a sign that said, "We're nuggets about you." You'll see the cards and pieces of appreciation. Thanks on your service. We know that the pay's not very good, but really truly do appreciate everything that you guys do on behalf of our students and families. Another big event that occurred just yesterday was our first annual color run. And this was a piece that was kind of developed out of our Hope Squad. Denise and our counselors really took it forward and brought it to fruition. But the people that stepped up to help out, whether it was Scott Bogert making sure everything was cleaned up, whether it was Penny and Brenda going out and putting all the balloons and flags out at like 1 o'clock. And of course, March has been crazy windy. And they managed not to let them all blow away, to our counselors having the student showcase, to Lisa Manns, everyone doing so much. I was sad that I missed it, but I was able to go to my daughter's soccer game. I mean, it was her first one. She was very nervous for her first Warrior soccer game, but they did an amazing job. I know my son and wife both ran in it. My son wore his color run shirt today, not washed. I don't know what it.
Wouldn't let us blow any of the color off of it.
I don't know what happened in Miss Mellon's building, but hopefully it is clean. But he had a great experience. It was a fantastic way to build community. It's one of those steps to try to engage our community. What we had asked from a lot of people is, hey, we know you're connected to us, but bring a friend. And I think if we keep that going, we will only see that grow. We had several food trucks. I happened to actually have lunch today at Chops, and they were so thankful for being a part of it. They said it was a tremendous event. All of them made really good money. So it was a great experience. So thank you guys so much. Thank you, Denise and team, for supporting, being a part of it. There was a lot of logistics. Thank you to our track team who mapped out the race and made sure we weren't getting in the way of Roberts construction on the middle school field. So it was a really great event. And thank you for all that participated. I saw a picture of Susan. She liked it full on, ready to go.
I enjoyed throwing stuff at
I enjoyed throwing it,
certain people.
but then certain kids enjoyed throwing at me, so it was fun.
She took the pink cup personally with me. So.
It was fun.
It was good. It was good.
And so just a fantastic event. Thank you, Denise. I think if anything we learned from it, it's something we can build. Yeah. Very good. So that's fantastic. We had another key communicator meeting, went and engaged with our high school. Actually, one of the things I found really interesting, and from that, we actually had someone who was interested in bringing their kid to Smithville, attend, because they heard about it and they came just to listen to the programs and learn more about it. those have been really good to listen to our families. I'm very curious about how we continue to attract more and more participants in it and what that, for lack of a better term, sales job or invitation looks like to get people there. Ashley's put some videos together that she's going to try to entice her community. Is yours April 2nd? Is that right? So just the next one's April 2nd for you guys that are putting it on your calendar. But we did have a superintendent's advisory council meeting. It was just another good way to continue to get feedback from them. It was pretty routine, nothing really huge we took in front of them, but just hearing their thought processes. And one of the things I found most valuable for it is there's things that they brought to that council, took back to their principals, and they've taken action. Todd in particular has done some things with the locker rooms based on their feedback, and working with Scott and Robert have been able to take some things on, and it is very noticeable by the students. From one of the months, I know they took back to the high school that one of the water filters had turned yellow, and how, not yellow water, but whether it's green, yellow, orange, and they're like, hey, we can't have them. And Mr. Moore is like, if we have those problems, we're in good shape. Like, these are things we can take care of. So those pieces have been really strong. Will be a really strong thing that we are only going to continue to build on next year to get their input. We have wrapped up the large majority of our kindness and inclusion plan in our work with POAC this year. We still have some work that'll occur in the high school, I believe in April. It's my understanding. I'm going to look at Michelle here for a couple pieces, but have done some reflective things. I know Jamie with them has reached out and asked, what would this look like? And I know Todd's given some feedback, and he's going to reach out to our principals to give some feedback on what would a new version look like, and how do we continue that work to make sure it doesn't get lost. It was one of the things that was brought up by our student advisory council as a valuable piece, and something that they are interested to see how it goes and wondering how it fits moving forward. So that's been a good piece. Anything you would want to include with Dr. Cradfield that I haven't?
I think that's a good summary.
Yeah, so our next step is Jamie's going to reach out to our building principals, continue to get that feedback if he hasn't already. Then we are going to meet again with him to talk about what this would potentially look like. Denise has made it part of our children's services grant and then also be part of our admin retreat this summer to look at what pieces we activate moving forward. The last piece I had was just, I've been able to do the second round of building visit reflections. The pieces I continue to take back are the appreciation in the 4 buildings that gained a full-time assistant principal, as well as that BI position. Just that constant support is very much felt. They're excited about the calendar. Anxious that they don't have that Wednesday time, but excited about the new calendar and having longer chunks of time monthly to meet. And I'll always use kind of our encore exploratory classes, the instrumental music and vocal music. They're like, we never get to meet as a team, because even on Wednesdays, our high school and middle school start an hour earlier than our elementary. So either our elementary has to get up an hour earlier, or high school is going to have to walk out of class to be able to have that collaboration. So they're just excited to have a common time that they can talk and have those conversations about what a vertical alignment looks like. And then the need of the conversation on appreciating the class sizes and not wanting those to get higher at the elementary schools, definitely appreciating the new sizes, as well as bringing in support. How do we work to get in the top 10, top 8 of the 22, which is our goal with the certified salary committee, while also ensuring that we're bringing in the resources that our students need. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Sounds like you knocked out of the park. I want to thank you and the team for the work on the kindness inclusion plan. I know that's something that can very quickly fall to the back burner with everything else going on, but is really important for every single one of our warriors. So thank you for the work on that. There's nothing else. We'll move on to 9.3, Assistant Superintendent for Academic Services.
Thank you. I just have a few items to update the board on. First of all, on March 12th, we had our district ACT testing day. So this is an opportunity for any of our juniors to take the ACT at the district's expense. In addition to that, our freshmen and sophomores took pre-ACT, so they're getting a little experience with that as well. And that is a huge task. So just want to extend a thank you to Brett Lackey for all of the preparation and planning. And there's so many details on a day like that. And it's not easy, but it went very well. And very happy to provide that opportunity for our kids. The juniors who did not take the ACT took either the work keys, the ASVAB, or the AccuPlacer, which is an assessment used at community colleges to determine placement for students. So that requirement of having a post-secondary assessment for our for our graduates for that particular class is pretty much taken care of. We have testing coming up. It's the end of the year. And so our high school students and 8th graders in Algebra 1 will be taking end of course exams. And then our students in grades 3 through 8 will be taking the grade level exams. So our buildings are very busy getting their schedules together for that. And our teachers have been prepping our kids all year long. So excited to get that huge task out of the way. And I think our kids are going to do a great job. So thanks to our building principals, our counselors, our assistant principals for all the work it takes to get that schedule going as well. In your packet, I included a complete assessment executive summary. And so the NWA scores are included in that document. That was the only thing that was missing. This is the first time that we've used the winter benchmark as our what we reported to you. And that was feedback from our administrators that they wanted you to get some data in which we've actually had some impact. The fall data, we do that immediately when the kids return from summer. And so there's some learning loss there. And so that was their recommendation. And so there is no longitudinal data with that because it's the first time we've used that indicator. And consequently, it's the first time that our high school has tested in the winter because they typically do the fall. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to answer. And then lastly, I just wanted to remind you of our Teacher of the Year and Support Staff of the Year breakfast on April the 24th. That will be at 8 a.m. in the high school cafeteria. At this point, I've heard from one person who has RSVP'd, but if you'd let me know just so I can make sure that we have a place set for you, would love to have all of you there if you're available and willing. That's all I have unless you have any questions for me.
One question. Maple last year, did we added a teacher in this year? Was that 4th grade? Kindergarten and 4th grade for this year. Because when we look at this academic report, we have MAP scores and then we have NWEA scores. So have you seen an improvement with it would be this year's 4th grade class? You've seen an improvement from last year's 3rd grade to this 4th grade. Okay. Great. How about Eagles 5th grade to 6th grade? Have you seen improvement?
I think we've seen some gains. I have to really look at it to give you something really specific.
Okay. Okay. No, I just appreciate everybody's discussion last year around the subject matters of class size. We know it makes a difference. So I'd just like to make sure that we're still pushing forward, pushing the envelope on class size and making sure that we get enough resources into our classrooms for our students. So
yeah, Dr. Moss, I heard you mentioning the fact that you're having that at the building level conversations to develop kind of a target matrix, right? Is that what I can say?
Yep. So the new classroom procedures that we made for elementary this year, we did that engaging with the principals. So Christy, Rachel, and Ashley is who we did that to. We then rolled that out or implementing those procedures this year. And then based on Todd and Scott's feedback, we decided to wait till next year because neither felt like they had a need right now with their staffing situations moving into the 24-25 school year. But that is a piece that we want to look at as well. And then revisit as well, probably November, again with our elementary principals to see if did we hit the mark? Do we still need to look at it? How do we revise it? And then looking at other resources positions, like I mentioned, the reading teacher that we're asking you guys to approve. That's a resource that our building principals have asked. The additional sections that we've asked you to approve are 100% just based on our new class size standards, would not have been added previous years.
Yeah, and then how did we compare the classroom standards that were developed? Was that across our peering districts, or like what was the methodology used to develop that?
So if you look at our peer districts, they use DESI, which was our previous model. So it was somewhat from our elementary principals' experience. And then I had gathered some information from other school districts that aren't necessarily in the Northland 6 that have some different standards. But mainly we relied on our building level leadership, their experience.
Okay.
It's a great start from what we did, from the groundwork that we did last year into what we're doing this year.
So we started with DESI standards, which was our standards, and then worked down from there.
Okay, thank you.
How do we, we have multiple number one rankings out of 25 KC districts. How are we celebrating those kids and teachers and really letting them know, hey, you were number one? How are we doing that? Whoever wants to answer.
Yeah, please do.
Right now, we're all in the process of map prep, kind of going into our map season, and so we're talking about our scores from last year, and just overall, we'll have big map assemblies. I believe in every building. I know mine is, and so that's really just us as a whole celebrating, not individual students though.
Yeah, preliminary scores, when we got them in August, we did a big back to school celebration and celebrated our staff. We administration is meeting with individual students to go over 3rd through 6th grade. Well, it'll just be 4th through 6th previous scores with students, and just what they need to get to the next level, and just how it's a little different each grade. So, but that's in this month in April.
Because there's assemblies and everything to prep them. So then when they do have success, let's really.
So we do a building wide map for all students, and everybody that
Yeah, right.
Okay. I mean, it's because they can understand the importance of even though they try hard, they make a big deal. It's a big test.
And then how do you all celebrate your teachers with those preliminary map scores when you come back? You mentioned it. Is it a luncheon? Is it showing them, like, what does that look like for each of you all?
Celebrate. It takes everyone. It's not just one. Celebrate that is representing our students. The celebration focused on our staff and show scores and growth between the grade levels, and
Let them eat cake.
It's a party.
One thing that's interesting to me on here, mainly because it's fresh, I guess, but Todd, you presenting on the work you guys are doing in the math program at the middle school that we've developed. You guys identified a need and created a program to drive improvement. But when we look at the broader picture, I mean, 6 out of 25 peer districts, like, you wouldn't look at this data and say and identify a need from this, but you guys understanding our kids' past, present, future, and seeing that within our district, it's pretty cool to see that, when you look at this, you wouldn't necessarily draw a conclusion to us having a deficiency or a problem. But when you guys, knowing our kids and knowing the performance and knowing the room for improvement, being able to pull out of this data and actually look at the classrooms and where you need it, it's pretty cool to see that program, because this conflicts with what you guys are seeing, but obviously we're driving significant improvements to that program. So I think that's pretty cool.
We have conversations. Yeah, we compare ourselves to other districts, but let's look ourselves and celebrate our growth and what we accomplish.
instead of are we better than furniture?
Yeah.
We are.
We are, yeah. Yeah.
We had the best math scores in the Kansas City Metro. I mean,
Yeah, it's just
however,
nice.
to your point though,
We're not set.
good enough is not good
Right.
enough.
Yeah.
And we can always find ways to get better and help individual students. And ultimately that,
Yeah.
you know, shows an increase in our performance.
Because you easily could push back and say, well, we don't need to do all this extra work if we're sixth, you know, but you guys didn't do that. So I think that's worth definitely noteworthy on your guys. Pretty cool.
Other questions for Dr. Crowderfeld? We are the best district in all of Missouri, right?
That's what I hear. I believe it.
I've heard the same thing.
Excellent. With that, move on to 9.4, Executive Director of Support Services.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Bloomker. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here real quick so everybody at home can see as well. And so our construction projects are moving right along. First one I'll talk about is our transportation center. And if any of you are interested in the address of the transportation center, what that's going to be, it's right up here in the upper left-hand corner. So 250 East 92 Highway.
Wow.
A little bit different, no more commercial avenue. So, of course, we talked last month a little bit about transportation being behind schedule. We've had some great weather in the last month, been able to make a lot of time. They've been working very hard on this project. And so you can see some of the project process that they made on this project. The bus parking lot pad has been completed. And so they do have a trailer on site, which is great. They've kind of had a temporary one to the side until they can get that pad developed. And then they're putting in all the underground site utilities, of course, removing all that extra soil surcharge. And so that is complete. And then they're starting on the footings and foundations of the actual transportation facility itself. And then they're looking to hopefully in the next couple of weeks get slab on grade. So all the underground utilities have to be in place before they put that slab on grade. And once they get that done, probably the third week of April, you'll actually see some structural steel start being put up. And when it gets put up, it's going to go quick because it has a modular building. So they're hoping to get that quickly and closed. And then once that happens, if we have bad weather days, then, you know, the electricians and plumbers and framers and stuff like that can still get in and do some of the work they need to. So hopefully, knock on wood, our good weather days continue. And so that way we can hopefully get that show quickly and get that going. So some of the pictures you can kind of see here is they're pouring the interior footings and then some of the exterior footings, you can see those pictures there as well. And so if you drive by, you can really kind of see, since they have the parking lot pad poured and now the building pad footings outlined, you can kind of really see the footprint of the area and what that's going to look like. So that's pretty exciting. On the second page here, we have, of course, the start of our middle school athletic field. They quickly gotten all of the excess dirt from the crowning of that field taken off and putting in all the underlayment for all the drainage that they have now. So they've been able to work quickly as well, because they started around about middle March has just been excellent weather. So they've been moving great and they're on a great schedule there. So that is some of the pictures and some of the explanations. Before I bring up the project timeline and cost sheet, the other projects are going that don't have pictures. Of course, VAV, the specs have been released. We have contractors looking at those. And so we should be bringing a bid day package to you in April. So next month's board meeting should have that bid day. You know, it is a smaller project. So in smaller projects, you don't get as high as participation, but they feel like they'll have 3 pretty serious bidders on that project, just based on the interest and some of the site walkthroughs and things like that. So that will be coming in April. And then a lot of pre-flaming going on right now with the high school gym, with the stage being demolished and, you know, those mezzanines getting taken out. So then that way they can put in the new bleachers. We're planning with teachers so that way they can move equipment and stage it. They can do the demo. And then when they come back and put it back in, then they can move back in. And so we're starting that actually in the first week of May. And the reason we want to do that is we want to get volleyball the ability to start their practice on time in the fall, to have both gyms, not just one gym. And so that is why we're starting early. So we worked with everybody. PE teachers are going to go outside in the spring. or do something in the aux gym instead of the main gym. So that way we can get started early to help turn it back over sooner than later. So that's the plan there. I'll go ahead and bring up the schedule here. And so something happened there where it stopped sharing. Let me share one more time here. I don't know what happened. So, all right, so everybody should be able to see the status here. I can make it just a little bit bigger so everybody can see it. I did leave the transportation in yellow on timeline. We have made some progress of catching up, but we haven't caught up all the way. And so we'll continue to analyze it. I would say probably by next month, if we want to, bring overtime to try to do some continual catch up, that's probably when the analysis will be made. It'll depend on how many weather days we might lose. If we have no weather days like we'd had between February and March, we'll actually gain some because there is built-in and weather days in the schedule. So I think that'll be about the time where Jay Dunn will feel like, okay, if we want to make up some time, here's the time to make the decision. So I do have on budget still in yellow. We are not over contingencies. We have about $80,000 left of contingencies left. Of course, we've hardly had any type of overages since we got through all breaking up the rock. So that's good news. And as you continue to put the building up, you have less and less as you continue to move on. So I still have it in yellow because it's, we're still on the lower end of what we have left in contingency, but we're not past that limit yet. So, but hopefully with continued success, that will stay under the contingency and we might have a little bit left over, but that will continue to tell. So you can see that everything else continues to be on time and in budget, from our security enhancements, our athletic field at the middle school, and then of course our high school gym will start first week of May. So any questions on construction or timeline?
I just thought of a small thing, but are those giant holes by the middle school field still there?
Giant holes.
There were giant holes in the ground.
So
Patrick, you were.
Yeah,
because our kids were playing. Right?
Those concrete piers. I don't know what piers.
So the old concrete piers are still next to the pile of dirt.
So
along there, but the
I feel like
holes
there should be some
holes aren't. Because and the reason I know this because for the color run yesterday, I was driving there and walked the site, and so there are no holes they've put in some of the drainage there, so there is no danger of someone walking on site. But those, I guess the old drainage system are still there. Old piers are still sitting.
Yeah, I know when they pulled those concrete piers out, they were like, well, my child was very curious.
But he was.
was trying to observe what would be at the bottom of those.
What is that?
holes, So
Yeah,
it would be easy to.
would be.
yeah,
If there is, they would have
Who's a kid?
the orange fencing around that.
Yeah, they didn't have that. Yeah.
Well,
I think
But-
it was probably a couple days, and they happened to be the baseball scrimmage. But yeah,
that is the safety practice that they should have.
It
fencing,
seems like
or
it.
have it filled in one of the two.
We're all good. It's okay.
And then any financial stuff I have, just overall budget, I have comments, but that's in the general financial review, so I'll save that for that time. So.
Any other questions for Mr. Hedgecourse under 9.4? All right, we'll move on to 10.1, general financial review.
All right. Well, my screen stopped sharing again. Randy, you killing my screen sharing? I don't know what's going on there. All right, let's share again. Okay, so this is our year-to-date budget adjustments that we have. This shows big picture type items. Of course, in early fall, we made some adjustments to substitute pay. And so the one that I added in that is very significant is a possible supplemental Prop C payment. So DESE, what they do every month is they put how much money is collected from Prop C. You are given your Prop C payment based on last year's WADA. It's different than formula where they give you the highest of the last three, or like the pandemic provision going all the way back to 2019, 2020. It is only last year. So Prop C is very easy to note. They give you a per pupil amount. And then as they keep collecting state tax through time, they show what's totally collected. They show what your percentage is, and they give you a monthly payment. So as we continue every single month and we see that economy to continue to thrive, that possible supplemental Prop C payment will continue to be more assured. But they wouldn't put it in their memo and talk about it and put a number to it if they didn't feel pretty confident about it. So I feel as confident about that supplemental payment as I do the economy for the rest of the 3 months. So I don't see any windfalls, happening. So I feel like we will get that Prop C supplemental payment. And if we don't, it's not like it's all or none. It would be maybe 90% of that. So what that does to our budget is it puts us in the black. And our budget, anytime that I'm giving you budget numbers, it always assumes that expense budgets are spent to the full. That's why they're there. This month is the time where we ask buildings to stop spending in this fiscal year for any type of planned purchases. Of course, there are unplanned purchases. Of course, our salaries, we continue, which is 75% of our expenses. But those are very predictable. It'll probably take a month, Karen, I would say, to filter through GL to get those numbers in the system to run reports to kind of see where we stand for the rest of the year. So we'll have better ideas about, you know, what budgets haven't been spent all the way and what we might be able to pull back. I always give you guys a number of about 250,000 a year of what gets pulled back and unspent, but we'll be able to give you more of that number. So as you can see, that supplemental Prop C puts us in black now, and then budget's not spent all the way. This fiscal year is looking very good as we finish out. So.
Did you budget? Is this the budgeted, in addition to the budgeted number?
Addition, yeah. Anything I put in this year-to-date adjustment is always just either additional from the original or the negative from the original.
I know that that's how you did. I just wanted to make sure that's
sure
that good news is that good news.
Yeah, that's that good.
Appreciate it.
Sweet. Sure.
Any questions for Mr. Hedgeworth on general financial review? All right, 10.2 board committees update.
On you, Scott.
Spokesperson for the workshop.
Oh yeah, did we have soaking? So, oh yeah, we did, didn't we? So last week we talked about we had a visitor from the classified staff, Jenny Fight, come speak to us about some of the things that they're visiting subject wise with their pay schedule and some of the what they would like to do in the future, which was that was very educational because of the difficult, you know, it's a challenge from their perspective because it's not as straightforward as the certified schedule. So we walked through several of her issues, and I think they have a plan for this upcoming year with their request. And I think what they're going to do in the next upcoming year is kind of take it upon themselves to revisit and work through some of the issues that they have on their schedule. So that was very informative. Then the other part that we went over mostly was a potential pilot payment that there's a good chance of it coming in for the next calendar year. And Robert spent some time going over that. And has that information been shared with the entire board? I can't remember.
Isn't it in Friday update?
It's Friday update.
Yeah. It's part of the Friday update.
Okay.
And you guys met with the assessor, right?
Yeah. And I went with Dr. Moss to meet with the assessor.
And Robert had a phone call more specific to it. And Robert, correct me if I'm wrong, but we should know about last year's estimate next month,
Correct,
April.
123,000 for this fiscal year.
So if we receive that in April, there's no reason to not be confident that what they shared with the $1.2 million in new money would be what we would expect a year from now in April.
Yeah. Right.
Based on the pilot payment.
So really good news. It was a good meeting last week. So that's pretty much it. Any questions? Great. Stacia will be glad to. All right.
Thank you all for the work. Next time on the agenda, 10.3, a small correction to our 2024-2025 academic calendar.
I apologize for the mistake. I corrected the spreadsheet, so it won't happen again. Kids will be happy. It's one day less in school.
Nobody's gonna be totally upset about that.
So with that, if there's no additional questions for Dr. Catafell, I'd entertain a motion to approve the corrected 2024-2025 academic calendar. Second. We have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion, please vote. Fantastic. Motion carries 7-0. Next item on the agenda, 11.1 personnel report.
Yes, and in your board packet, you do have the personnel report. Please note that it does include, two new positions for executive director of elementary and secondary. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions on this? If not, I entertain a motion to
And it-
approve the report.
And am I correct in this report? Don't we need an extension?
Yes, Mrs. Carlisle will abstain from the vote on this one. So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. Please vote. Motion carries 6-0 with Mrs. Carlisle abstaining. Next item on the agenda, 11.2, 2024-2025 teacher contracts.
In your packet, you have our returning teacher contracts that will be issued. I tried to provide an explanation for you, the difference in probationary roll into tenure contract, which is a permanent contract, and then those teachers under permanent contract. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
And just to confirm, Mr. Saxton will be abstaining from this one. Does anyone else need to abstain from this one?
Yeah, that's the one I asked about, but you clarified it with me, so we're good.
You're good. All right, with that, I'd entertain a motion to approve the contracts as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further discussion, please vote. Motion carries 6-0 with Mr. Saxton abstaining. Next item on the agenda, 11.3 district medical and dental insurance.
Okay. So every year we come to the board, with what we're requesting for the board paid contribution for medical and dental insurance. This year, working with Mercer, and looking at our claims history, we've had a very positive claims history this year, a little different than the last couple of years. What we'd like to do is shift just a little bit of funds. We currently have a nice surplus on our dental side. We think that we've got plenty of surplus to carry us through the year without dropping out of additional dollars still sitting in the bank there. So we'd like to decrease the dental by $8 per employee and increase that on the medical side and add the $8 to the medical contribution. So there would be no difference in the overall board contribution total. We're just gonna deflect funds from dental into medical.
I'm glad we have the ability to do this. This is a good year.
Great year to be able to do that.
Something, yeah, there was so much.
Typically not what we get to do with this, so great work and thank you, everybody. If there are no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the recommendation as presented.
Someone.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, please vote. Motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda, 11.4, approve MSBA policy BCE for the first of 3 readings. This relates to board committees.
Yes, I put this together just based on the work that we have done this year with our finance committee. I looked at multiple districts that have committees to see what they had in their policy. Some of them have nothing, others are fairly extensive. This is meant to be purely as a draft. As a conversation, I wanted to get it as part of this year as the current board that was part of creating that finance committee, as well as before we approve it, it would be with the next board as they would be carrying out that policy moving forward. But this is truly meant just as discussion. Would be happy to share anything regarding the changes. Please know the only part that is changed is highlighted below is in the yellow towards the bottom.
Questions for Dr. Moss on this?
It's just the first of 3 readings.
Correct. So for our incoming board members, you'll need to vote on this twice to make this effective. There's no questions. I'd entertain a motion to approve the first of 3 readings on this.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, please vote. Motion carries 7-0. Next on the agenda, 11.5 supplemental pay for March A and B. Mrs. Carlisle will be abstaining from this vote as she has a loved one on this list. There's no discussion and entertain a motion to approve this as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, please vote. Motion carries 6-0. Next on the agenda, 11.6 supplemental pay for March 2024, Part C. Mr. Saxon will be abstaining from this vote. I entertain a motion to approve this as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, please vote.
Oh, I accidentally abstained.
That's
Better than.
It's better than voting on the wrong one.
Around.
It's okay. I got real excited.
Motion
I don't
carries
vote on that.
5-0 with 2 abstentions.
still pass.
Before we adjourn, I'd like to kick it over to Mr. Moore for some words. Great to see you this evening, sir, and excited to hear from you.
I guys, I just wanted to say more than anything, humbly and honestly, and through every ounce of faith I have, thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for being extending the grace that you all have for me. I know it's not ideal to hire an administrator July 1st, and then I'm now attending a board meeting virtually. But I hope everyone in the room knows that my biggest goal is to come back the best version of me. And I have had nothing but positive feedback from the community and students and so forth. But just, I wanted you all to hear from me how humbling and just how thankful I am for all the grace that you all have extended towards me. But I will tell you, my celebration today is I walked up 4 steps today with an orthopedic and a gait belt. So that is huge. And I did that 3 times today. So every day I get better. I know I'm being used for a reason, and people are learning along with me, but the people in front of me that I'm looking at on the screen, I can't thank you enough from my heart. My dad is, here. I mean, just thank you guys for extending the grace that you have to me. And I promise I'm working hard to get back as soon as I can in the best version of me. But I wanted you to hear from me personally. Thank you. And then the last thing I want to say, if you all ever have any questions, if there's anything I can answer for you, anything that you need from me from this end, don't hesitate. Dr. Moss, everybody, if you don't have my number, he can share it with you all. But this has been overwhelming, the amount of support I've received from my Warrior family in such short amount of time that I've had to invest in. So you're going to continue to get all of me, regardless of what that is. And so I just wanted you all to hear from me personally. Thank you. It means more to me than you realize.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. We often talk about what it means to be a warrior, and in times of adversity, warriors step forward and are forged by that adversity to lead the way. So thank you for being the living embodiment of that, and we look forward to welcoming you back here.
Yeah, I don't speak French, but I've said Guillain-Barré syndrome more than I care to, and I'm sure I've said it wrong every time. But yeah, it was a surprise to me, and so just like they told me, don't Google it, I did, and I know how fortunate I really am. So, but anyway, I'm making progress, guys, and just humbly, thank you so much for the grace you all have extended to me. So, thank you.
Tough to top that. So
moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If there's no discussion, please vote.
8 o'clock.
We stand adjourned. Does anyone know what to do with their evening now?
There is one item I'd like to discuss back in close.
Okay.
Okay. All right,
Suckers.
Think
y'all
it's
very much. Have
painless.
a great evening.